true, but really what I do, the bread and butter of what I do every day for 12 hours a day, at least three days a week, is see couples in my practice. And every hour, as you imagine, is a different and interesting story. So it never gets boring. But I came out of the fitness industry and probably was one of the first people back in Jane Fonda days to become certified, and did the whole health club and the gym thing. And then I started a personal training studio for teenage girls and for women. And what I heard over and over and over as we were doing bicep curls was things about their relationship, right? Because that's what matters to women most, and they want to talk about this. This is more than, you know, maybe their career, their house, their material items, is their relationship. So I thought, gosh darn, I better go back to school and add another degree. And so I got a master's in psychology and thought, you know, I can just shake my head and go, so sorry to hear that, another 8 curls, or I could figure out what is it that I can do to help these women in their relationships. So that's sort of my daily career, actually, and all of the other things with humanitarian work in the nonprofit world, and the nonprofit that I have is the extra thing, sort of like the cherry on top of my life. So I am here today to talk to you about this, Love Metabolism. I did bring some of my new book, and so this idea was hatched in a conversation with my colleague. We have these things called case consults, and you may not want to know this, but sometimes we talk about you. And to case consult, you bring your most difficult patients, and you ask other therapists, what would you do about this? So in a case consult, we were sharing our most difficult patients, and these, try as hard as they might, they were not happy. These couples were not happy. They didn't know how to satisfy each other's needs. So it dawned on us as we were talking, could it be that love has a metabolism of its own? Could it be that each individual has a different metabolism for specific aspects of love? And we started to throw it around, and it made sense, actually. Hey, let's look at this through a different lens. Let's look at love through metabolism. So I think about Thanksgiving coming up soon, and that's some people's favorite holidays. And why is that? Because we get to feast, right? And there's some people that just sort of save up their calories all week long because, you know, you want to not feel bad, and you want to eat everything that you don't normally get to have. And so, you know, you start in the morning, and there's appetizers, depending on when you arrive. That rolls into dinner, that rolls into dessert and coffee, and so on. But there are others that just treat it like any other day, right? They don't overeat, they don't feel bloated, they come, they go, they're done. Now, if you're like me, not only do you eat Thanksgiving, you get excited the next day for leftovers, okay? I mean, I'm looking for the hot turkey sandwich. I want to know, you know, I want this to go on. So my appetite is bigger than some others when it comes to Thanksgiving. I don't know why this is, but I get asked to bring the pies. And the most disappointing thing that happens to me is when I finally get to roll out the pies, half of the crowd's like, no, I'm full and I'm satisfied. Take it away. Matter of fact, kind of makes me sick, you know, to look at more food because they're completely satisfied with their dinner and they don't need dessert or they don't want it. So I'm going to suggest to you that love might be the same way. There might be people that get their fill quite easily, and there might be others that bring it on. I can't remember yesterday what you did for me. I'm looking at tomorrow, what exciting things we're going to be planning. So whenever you create a new theory, can you go ahead and go forward? Whenever you create a new theory, you have to look back in history to figure out if you can apply it to the past and how things have changed in the future so that we can know, is there a need for a new theory, a new assessment model? And so I want you for a minute, go ahead and change, would be to look at the 1950s and tell me, just thinking about families and thinking about couples, from the 1950s, what comes to mind? What kind of things come to mind? Just shout it out.
Full-time mom.
Full-time mom, so mom's at home a lot, dad's in the workforce. What else?
Steady.
Steady, okay, good. What else? What was going on with their activities?
Family they sat at the dining room table or the kitchen table and ate together.
Okay, so we came together in the evening, and people didn't work as late, and they didn't bring their work home as often, right? They couldn't.
No technology. Yeah, I mean no cell phones.
Yes, no cell phones, no technology. Yeah. And what is it that the women were doing with women on their off time?
Socializing.
Exactly. Neighborhood, get-togethers somewhat. PTA, Women's Auxiliary, maybe Bible study, quilting club. What were the men doing? Bowling? Okay, what else? What else were the guys doing? All right, so maybe they were with the boys. Lions Club, Eagles Club, Moose Club, Golf Club. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there was co-ed softball. I don't think there was co-ed soccer back then, right? And I'm not a proponent that we go back. I'm not wanting us to go back to the 1950s. We're just using it to sort of see how has the landscape changed. So let's go forward. Now, what do we have going on? What's different now in our busy lifestyle? What do families and couples look like now? Give me some feedback.
Cell phones.
We have cell phones.
Taking the screens.
Disconnected. Yeah. That's one of my big therapy points is, can you please put your cell phones away from 6 o'clock on and focus on each other? But my work emails come in, and I'm on there checking for the emergencies, right? And so, work has sort of dribbled into our personal life. Super, super busy. Lots of families, both people work. Kids are in daycare, right? Maybe in the 1950s, we had neighbors watching kids or grandma living in the basement. I mean, we had families staying in the same community. A lot of time, all the relatives were together in one area. What else was going on? What else is going on now that we didn't have, that we're all doing today and posting on?
Social media.
All right. So social media, 3 to 5 of them you all have. That's what it says. So we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have Facebook. There's just a whole bunch of things that make us feel connected. Somehow we're virtually, we have friends. Look how many friends we have. I have this many likes, But do we see those people? How often do we see those people and sit down like this, and have connections? Not as often as we would like. So what has happened for couples because of this, where before there were all these groups that people attended and were part of, and there was more time home and with family and neighbors. Now what's happened is, guess who gets to fill the role of all of those things for you that we all crave, all those connections? Your partner, okay? So there's a romanticized thought now that I want my partner to be my best friend. I want my partner to be my confidant, my lover, my co-parent, my recreational partner, my exercise person. I mean, this is what people come in telling me I'm not happy because they don't do these things, right? They can't fulfill all these roles. So boy, that's a high expectation. That's a really high expectation, and it's almost impossible to meet. Right? So we're going to have to come up with some new tools in order to define this so that it can become somewhat tangible, at least. So the first reality that we have to accept here is that nobody, even mind readers, can fulfill all of our love needs if we don't know what they are. Okay? Sort of like everybody needs love. Well, yeah, everybody needs love, but what does that mean? How is that experienced? Everybody gives love differently. Everybody receives love differently. So what is it specifically that, we need as an individual? Now, we learn this in our childhood, either how to be loved or maybe not loved perfectly, but that we bring into our relationships. And I can pretty much bet that your partner did not have the exact same childhood as you had, so whatever they think of as love is going to be different than what you think of as love. So my challenge for you today, actually, and what I want you to go away with is, do you know specifically what your love needs are? Okay? So, unfortunately, we can't determine a lot of times what we want until it's unmet. All right, we're going along, we're happy, we're in a relationship, and then suddenly somebody lets us down. Okay? So how would we know if it was not unmet? So when it's unmet, this is what people come in presenting with: anxiety, depression, insecurities, jealousy, maybe even OCD, maybe paranoia. What's going on? Something's been unmet. I don't know what. I just think we're not getting along. Not sure what's going on. Well, if you follow this down to the root of the emotion in a person, these are the things that I think are going on, okay? These things. I'm really not being made a priority in your life, because if I was, it wouldn't happen, all right? I'm not desirable enough for you. Are you looking at some other woman? You think that I'm fat? What is it, okay? What's going on? My requests are not important to you, okay? Maybe the kids are more important, all right? Maybe their friends, maybe their mother. I'm not being respected, and the worst one, maybe I'm not lovable, all right? That's what comes out in the root of it. So, a lot of you may have seen this book. This is a classic book for couples. It's been around forever, Dr. Chapman, The Love Languages. And if you have never seen it, please get it. I mean, it's just really, really basic, and he defines what he calls the 5 basic love languages, in that if we know this, we know how we best experience or feel love. All right, so words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, gifts, and physical touch. I always give couples this assignment, and they're always shocked, because for the most part, what we find is however you want to receive love, you tend to give it that way. Mm-hmm. But think how that works. Think if you are the ultimate gift giver. You're the person, you're at TJ Maxx, they have all that cool home stuff, and you see these candles, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get these for Melody. Melody, they would go in her house, it's her favorite color, she's decorated in turquoise, you are the gift giver. It's not even Christmas, and you're picking up like, oh, my daughter would love this. Oh, my man would look so good in this sweater. I'm gonna get him this sweater, and you get home, and you go, look, honey, I got this sweater on sale at TJ Maxx, and it's going to look so good on you. And he says, why'd you get that? How much did that cost? I don't need another sweater. I don't need another sweater. Why are you spending money like this? Well, honey, I love you. Got it, because I love, well, why don't you come to bed earlier? Snuggle with me? Then I know you love me. Okay, his language might have been physical touch. So sometimes we mismatch because we give the type of love that we want to receive. So with the information from love languages, that is where love metabolism is born, because this doesn't tell us exactly what to do once we know our love language. It doesn't give us any help after that point. So if you could go to the next screen, with love metabolism, here are the key points. Here's the key questions to ask. How often is enough? How long is good? How much is needed? So, what does this mean? Well, my background's in the fitness industry, like I explained earlier. And when we go to school and learn about the body and the muscles and, all the workings, we learn that the only way that a person can actually make improvements in their health and fitness is to find a way that's a measurement tool to know if we're getting the outcome that we want. And in fitness, it's FID, frequency, intensity, duration. Go ahead. So frequency, intensity, duration makes a lot of sense for exercise, right? So that's how the Olympians get the gold medals. That's how we train the marathon runners to finally get across the finish line. We slowly give them longer, more duration to run and whatnot. And if we hadn't had this develop, and it wasn't even developed until around the 1980s, that as fitness professionals we could actually write programs for people that would help to increase their overall health and fitness and get them to the strength that they wanted to be at, or the cardiovascular fitness, or the flexibility levels. But as I was looking at this, I realized, why don't we translate this into love? Why can't we use a matrix like this to help people feel happier? So let's look at frequency. Frequency, obviously in exercise, according to the Surgeon General, according to the President's Council on Fitness, is 3 to 5 days a week. We've been being preached 3 to 5 days a week, 3 to 5 days a week you need to do fitness, okay? Well, that's great. What about love? Let's take an aspect of love. Sex. How many times am I asked, what is the average American number of, times that couples should have sex or do have sex every week? I never answer it because it's such a diverse situation, and people have different metabolic needs for sex in their relationship. Maybe it's 3 to 5 days a week. Maybe it's 3 to 5 days a month. Maybe it's 3 to 5 days times a day. But for the most part, you see how we can apply this, right? Trying to meet each other's needs. All right, intensity. For fitness, are we going to be lifting a 5-pound weight or are we going to be lifting a 25-pound weight? Okay, that's intensity for fitness. How would we relate this to love? Well, there's an occasion. There's a special occasion. Do I get 1 long stem rose or 2 dozen roses? Right? How intense of a gift-giving situation do we put out there? Duration. For fitness, obviously, we're asked to try to do cardiovascular fitness at least 20 minutes in a sitting. But if you're a marathon runner and you're training for a race, you better be out there for 2 hours on a Saturday. You got to have a long duration. You have to build up that stamina. How would it relate to relationships? I think about the aspect of friends and family being a conflict sometimes with couples. And I can tell you that there are people that would readily give up 2 hours on a Saturday to go to her cousin's birthday party. But they are not excited to give up their 1 week of summer vacation to go to a family reunion in Nebraska in the heat of August. Okay, that's a little bit too much. Friends and family, right? So this is how we apply it. So, what are the common problems that you see in your friends? When you look at couples that you know, what are the key things people complain about?
Not enough time.
Not enough time. Good one. What else? Yeah, what else?
Arguments about money.
Finances are huge.
Not sharing common interests.
Ah, not have common interests and hobbies, right?
It's emotional loneliness.
Yes. Disconnect. Communication.
Raising the kids.
Yes, fights about parenting, differences in parenting style. Yeah, you got a lot of them. Let's go to the next screen. So these are the ones that I hear the most as well, same as you come up with. The most common one, these are not in order, by the way, but the most common one is communication. And I think, fixing communication would be just so ideal because it helps everything else. If a couple can talk openly or be transparent, then suddenly they can discuss what they like and don't like in their intimate life. They can have logical discussions about the in-laws. They can talk about parenting skills. So communication, if we can fix that, we help a lot of things. The problem with couples that have been together for a while is that over time, they become ambivalent. They become complacent, and the communication is what I call sports, news, and weather. All right? It's doing the business of life. It's running the household. And what happens, obviously, if you get that going too long, you lose intimacy and you lose connection. So let's walk through an example, and I will show you how we would apply love metabolism to this. Here's John and Jennifer. John and Jennifer come into my practice. They've been married 10 years. They have 2 kids, and they say, we don't communicate well. What do I do with that? All right, well, I guess I will run it through love metabolism. Frequency, intensity, duration. So I asked them some questions, and she admits that he's trying. John is trying so much to be a better communicator. Matter of fact, he gives her a kiss on the cheek before he goes to work, says bye honey before he used to just race out. And then during the day, 3 times he sends texts. Just checking on you, on my break, how you doing babe? And then on the way home he calls and he says, anything that you need. Do the kids need anything? So she says he's trying. I'm not feeling like we're still communicating well. So when I get to questioning a little bit and I get him into this grid and I have him answer some questions, what I realize, if you could go to the next one, that on the grid, if you can see it, frequency, intensity, duration, he does get a really nice high score. It's 1 to 5 on this one, a 4 for frequency. He is trying. But what are these low scores on intensity and duration? Okay, very low. So basically, Jennifer is getting little tidbits, okay? She's getting snacks. Okay, when we're talking about metabolism, she wants the 4-course dinner, okay? So what Jennifer wants is longer talks, deeper subjects. All right, so we can fix that. Let's do another couple real quick. This is Michael and Michelle. Michael and Michelle come in. We don't communicate well. Okay, well, what's going on with you? And he says, oh my gosh, we spend so much time together. We spend every night together. We watch shows together. We have special shows that we love in the evening. And on the weekends, we do Seahawks. All right? We love Seahawks. We have the neighbors over. Sometimes we go out to the local pub. We have our friends. We all wear the jerseys. We're really connected. We communicate well. What is she hearing? Every night we watch TV. Not talking. Every weekend we have a lot of people over. It's exciting, but it's about everybody else, right? There's talking. Go Hawks. Okay, but I'm not getting that one-on-one. I want to know what's going on with him all week long. I want to hear what's going on at work. I want to hear what's going on in his heart. You know, that's what I want. And so when we did the grid, we figured out, how can we help him with this? Okay, how can we help him get better? On another note, with communication being that's the biggest problem, we also have to determine not just what we want, but what we can't stomach. All right? So in relationships, we have unhealthy communication forms. We've got criticism, we have sarcasm, we have a lot of bad things going on, right? We got teasing. Teasing can be cute until it's hurtful. All right? So basically, we can also run it through the love metabolism grid, but you have to know yourself first. You have to know what your appetite is for criticism. Did you come from a family that was loud and they joked, or was it not appropriate in your family? And so what I want to challenge you to do is to think about your personal style. Women can be passive aggressive. We try and be nice. We say things like, hey honey, looks like the garbage is getting kind of full. Yeah, it is. Gosh, I think the garbage man, I think they changed our schedule. Gosh, I wonder if the garbage man comes tomorrow now. Well, I don't know, hon, look in the bill drawer. I think they sent a notice on when the garbage man's coming this season. Gosh, you know, I have an early meeting on Wednesday morning. Tomorrow morning, I think I have an early meeting, and I did last week too, and I think I was late to the meeting because I had to take the garbage out. Really, what's that meeting about that you're going to? 3 times he missed the message because we didn't say, like women do, honey, the garbage is overflowing. I really like for you to take it out. The garbage man's coming tomorrow. Can you take it out now? Sure. No problem. So we need to actually take some of the responsibility. The unhealthy tendencies that we have and the mismatches that we have can be addressed without saying things like, you just need to be thicker skinned. You're just too sensitive. Yeah, we don't allow that, right? Not in this method. So we can put everything through this grid of love metabolism, and we can look at how often, how long, how much. Finances, we can look at pretty much every aspect of quality time, gift giving, hobbies, like you said, recreational activities as well. Matter of fact, here's a list of what we cover in the book, and you can see the details and why it would matter to look specifically into an area that we have a complaint about, right? Specifically into an area, because as I mentioned before, your partner needs to know what you want, and they can't know that until you can verbalize it, until you can put some words around and clarify what that means. So what I did for you today is I brought everybody the sheet. And so my challenge is this. Don't do it when you don't have time, okay? But when you have some time, get a journal out and really be introspective, take a hard look inside of you, and go through these topics, all right? Go through conflict, family, boundaries in social media. That's the biggest place we're seeing affairs right now, emotional affairs. What's bothersome to you about that, and how do you request from your partner? Gift-giving, acts of service, fitness, giving back, volunteerism. Is that something you want to do with your partner? And go through all of these topics and really ask yourself, who am I? Who am I and what I want? Because that's actually the only way that we're going to get the love that we want, and I believe that we all deserve. All right? Thank you for having me.